Welcome to Theme Weavers, your weekly wisdom for weaving yoga themes into your classes to inspire your students. I'm your host, Heidi Kasner. Let's get started. Welcome, Theme Weavers. Today, we are going to look at how to deliver a Dharma talk and weave the myth of Crescent Moon Pose, which you might know as Anjaneyasana. If this is the first episode you're listening to, you can always go back and check out Season 1, Episode 2 for details and background on the structure of how and why to weave themes through your yoga classes. If you choose to use today's teaching as your theme, please find a way to turn my voice into yours so that way you can make the theme authentic to you specifically. And before we get started, if you're enjoying Theme Weavers, please leave a 5-star review and perhaps some comments on the individual episodes wherever you listen to your podcast. In particular, Spotify. I really like seeing the comments on episodes when they're there. And also follow the show. And you can even auto download them on Spotify. I'm not sure about the other places, but I know you can auto download and they just show up in your playlist. It does make a difference for the algorithm to recommend the show to other people, and so I really appreciate it. And also, you can find the show on all the social channels to keep up to date on different reels and posts that I'm sharing. I'm trying to make one at least for every episode. So if you see it, it means a lot. And I'm really grateful to each of you who listen. The more you share and interact, the more energy and excitement that it's sending my way. So I really appreciate it. And if you're inclined and you enjoy the podcast, there is an option to set up a subscription to Theme Weavers for a small monthly fee. It shows your appreciation and just basically shows me how much you appreciate the content. And also, if you're a chromatic yoga teacher and you subscribe to the podcast, when you're a paid subscriber, you're allowed to track your listening hours as continuing education for chromatic yoga. And you can drop me a line at themeweaverspodcast@gmail.com if you have any questions with that. And if this is not the first episode you've heard, then you probably know these two announcements. But I wrote a book. It's called Energize Your Life. It's a chakra workbook for personal transformation. And there's also a Theme Weavers course called Theme Weavers Academy, where it's a pretty quick course that's really easy. And you leave with a full themed class at the end. And we're really excited about it. And hopefully will transform your confidence and your creativity with your using themes in your classes. So there's links to both of those things in the show notes. I'm pointing like you can see the show notes, but there's links down there. And I hope you check them out. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, that's all of the housekeeping stuff. So let's get into story time today. Today, we're exploring the story behind Crescent Moon Pose, Anjaneyasana, and an often overlooked part of Hanuman's myth, the power of feminine energy in his story. We've already talked about Hanuman back in episode 53, and today we get to bring him back. So just a little bit of background for us all, if you're not familiar. The Ramayana is one of the most important epic stories from ancient India. It tells the tale of Rama, the legendary prince who must rescue his wife Sita, who is kidnapped by the demon king Ravana. Hanuman is a Hindu god whose shape is half monkey, half human. He is the most devoted follower of Prince Rama, so he is featured a lot in the Ramayana, as well as lots of other traditional Hindu stories and artworks. I've talked about him even last week in the podcast. But Hanuman has special powers and qualities that he uses to help Rama rescue his wife Sita. Because Hanuman uses his powers in the service of others, he has come to symbolize the perfect Hindu who has lots of special qualities, but is not selfish with them, and uses his abilities to help lots of people. All right, so let's go back even further, though, to Hanuman's birth. According to legend, Hanuman's birth took place at the same time as Prince Rama's. Their stories are woven together from the very beginning. Rama's father, a king, was praying to the gods that he would soon have children, while at the same time, Hanuman's mother, Anjana, who was half monkey, was also worshiping the gods. The gods appreciated the king's prayers and sent him some heavenly pudding called payasam to share between his 3 wives. This led to the births of Prince Rama, the main character in the Ramayana, and his brothers. Because the gods also appreciated the worship of Anjana, they sent Vayu, the god of the wind and the air, to snatch a spoonful of pasayam pudding while it was floating down through the sky to the king. Vayu delivered the pasayam to Anjana, who ate it and thanked the gods. This spoonful of pudding, caused Anjana to give birth to a baby boy, Hanuman. Hanuman had the shape of a monkey, like his mother Anjana, but Vayu took the young boy to be his own son. And so Hanuman is considered to be a god. But what many don't know is that his name, Anjaneya, connects him to his mother, Anjana. Anjana was a female who was cursed to live as a monkey until she gave birth to a divine child. Hanuman was that child, a gift from the wind god Vayu, who blessed her with a son destined for greatness. Did you follow all that? So Anjana played a significant role in shaping Hanuman. Her love and nurturing gave him the foundation of strength, of humility, and devotion that guided his life. Even when Hanuman later performed daring feats like leaping across the ocean or lifting a mountain, his wisdom and compassion were rooted in the feminine qualities of care, intuition, and grace that his mother Anjana instilled in him. Crescent Moon Pose, Anjaneyasana, honors Anjana, right? The name is familiar. Anjana, Anjaneyasana, a reminder that power doesn't come from force alone. True strength comes from balancing the masculine qualities of action with the feminine qualities of receptivity and introspection. In today's world, we're often encouraged to push forward, achieve, and conquer. While action is important, it can lead to burnout if it's not balanced with moments of rest, reflection, and gentleness. I'm the queen of burnout, so I get that. Anjana's story reminds us that the greatest power lies in this balance, the interplay between doing and being, striving and surrendering. We talk about this a lot in yoga philosophy, whether it is referring to the gunas and the balance of rajas and tamas, or in the sutras where we talk about balancing surrender and effort. It is a repetitive theme to help us find balance in our lives. We even do that on the mat. Can we balance on one foot in different balancing postures? You might recognize this imbalance in your own life. Maybe you've been pushing too hard at work, neglecting self-care, or struggling to find time to simply pause. This myth teaches us that embracing the nurturing, intuitive aspects of ourselves can restore harmony and deepen our connection to ourselves and others. As we move through our physical practice today, let Crescent Moon Pose, Anjaneyasana, remind you of this balance. The pose asks you to ground yourself firmly while opening your heart to the sky, a physical embodiment of Hanuman's strength and Anjana's grace. Feel the steadiness in your foundation and the freedom in your chest as you find this harmony within yourself. All right. That's the story today. So now that we finished that, it's time to get into the part of class where we come up with phrases that we can drop like breadcrumbs throughout the whole class. And if you keep dropping the breadcrumbs, it leads you back to your theme. So we don't just like drop the theme at the beginning and never come back to it. So some options I like to use to connect us to the myth of Crescent Moon Pose, Anjaneyasana, are ground like Hanuman while staying open with the grace of Anjana, or balance strength and softness in this pose, or feel the steady support of the earth below and the openness of the sky above, or let the power of action meet stillness in a place of balance. And a last one that I have is strength is amplified when balanced with grace and softness. Okay, so you can choose one, you can come up with your own. I want to hear what you guys come up with, but those are the thematic 3-line phrases that I have for this theme that I might use. So now let's talk about how we can bring all of this alive in the class. What additional things do you think we should hit on? Things like peak poses or specific pranayamas or really anything else related to the myth of Crescent Moon Pose or Anjaneyasana. So I guess a peak pose of Anjaneyasana makes sense. I will say, so for me, Anjaneyasana and Crescent Pose, I see them as a lunge where the back knee is off of the ground and you're reaching your arms up over your shoulders. I do think a lot of people think Anjaneyasana, though, is like a low lunge when your back knee is on the ground and you're still in a lunge shape, but the back knee is down. So one is the back knee is up, one is the back knee is down. I think it depends on where you live in the world and what part of the country that you're in. It seems that's the case that I have found so far. Same pose, kind of, just one has the knee down, one doesn't, and it feels like different places have it different. So let me know which one you consider Anjaneyasana. You can also do a lot of balance postures in this class because we learn from the story that true strength is rooted in balance. right? We can't just like, go, lift, do the hard things, run, go. We need to find balance of that with softness. So it can't just be grit the entire time. We have to balance that out with some softness, some grace, right? A quote that I like for this class is, it's an unknown quote who said it, but the moon teaches us that even in darkness, we can reflect light. I really like that quote. Or maybe a mantra, Om Anjaneyaya Namaha, salutations to Hanuman, born of Anjana, is what that means. Or a mudra, Anjali mudra, hands at heart center, like in prayer, honoring balance and connection. And you can really feel that balance with your palms push into each other. You can also do pranayama of nadi shodhana, alternate nostril breathing to balance the masculine and feminine energies. I've talked about that pranayama specifically a number of times, so I'm not going to get into it right now, but it does balance out both sides, which balances things out like the story that we shared, this myth. All right, short and sweet, right? So let's wrap up the class now that we talked about all of that. And here's something like I might say at the end of the class in closing as a reverse Dharma talk to bring it back, the last of the breadcrumbs, right? As you prepare to leave your mat, carry the lesson of Anjana and Hanuman with you. Life often asks us to be strong, but strength without grace can feel heavy. Remember that your true power comes from balancing action with reflection, striving with surrender, and strength with softness. Think about where you might need more balance in your life. How can you honor both your strength and your gentleness? Like Anjana guiding Hanuman, trust that the feminine energy within you, whether it's intuition, grace, or nurturing, has the power to transform how you show up in the world. Okay, that's yoga story time for today. If you liked it, find a way to bring the theme alive in your own voice, in your own practice and teaching. Maybe you have your own lesson that comes from hearing this story. The story of Anjana and Hanuman, for me, reminds me that true strength is rooted in balance, combining action and grace, striving and surrender. May this myth inspire you to find harmony within yourself, both on and off the mat. And please reach out to me, Facebook, Instagram, email, however you want, in person if you're near Massachusetts, and let me know how this lands. I'm here to support you, fellow yoga teacher, in your class preparation and delivery. So let me know how I can be of the most support. Tune in next time for a new myth for inspiration for your classes. And don't forget to check out our course, Theme Weavers Academy, Crafting Impactful Classes. Click the link in the show notes to learn more and enroll. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next week with a new myth and modern inspiration to bring to your practice and your teaching. See you next time.